So as the chair of the meeting, I have the discretion to terminate or suspend the recording and any live streaming if, in my opinion, continue to do so will prejudice the proceeding of the meeting. Recording of the live stream of confidential items will also not take place. To alert me as chair of the meeting that you would like to speak, please raise your hand and wait for a roving mic or being asked to speak, because we've got microphones on free take. Members of the public will be able to view the live stream of the meeting via YouTube. Can I please request that when you're speaking, you make the points as distinct as possible to allow the smooth running of the meeting. Can I also take this opportunity to remind you to be polite and treat others with respect at all times. Thank you. Now, I would like to say as well, this is a meeting in public, but not a public meeting. So you'll be called up to speak on behalf of your request when we call forward. Now, we do have a couple of minutes before the meeting should start. If anybody, member of the public or yourselves, would like to ask a question, this provides an opportunity for you to ask anything which would be affecting Taunton or the local area. Do we have any questions so far? No. So we'd like to open the meeting. We will call each applicant forward when as it follows on the agenda. First item on the agenda is apologies for absence.
Thank you, Chair. We have apologies tonight from Councillor Packer Hughes, who's been substituted by Councillor Carsley, and apologies from Councillor Richard Lees. Thank you.
Thank you. Declarations of interest. Members to declare any interest, including disposable pecuniary interest that may have in the agenda items that accord to the requirements of the Town Council's Code of Conduct, and to consider any prior requests from members for dispensations that accord with the Act. So moving on to minutes. To approve and sign as a recorded of the previous Grants Committee meeting held on the 8th of April. Has everybody had a chance to view these minutes? Do we have a proposer for the minutes and a seconder? As proposer Sue.
Second.
And Councillor second. So if I just take a minute to. Yeah, could we just confirm that then, please, with all votes in favour? That's carried. Thank you, Marcus. So we have some feedback from previous applicants. So council and members to note the feedback from previous applicants. That was Eat Festivals, Go Create, Nirosh Woodlanders, Fireswood Community Centre, ROC Taunton Dean, Somerset Opera, St John's Ambulance and Winterfest. Do you need any more on that, Marcus?
They all attached to the.
Yeah, all of those reports are attached.
If there are any questions.
If there's any questions or anybody wants to read them further. Good.
Acknowledging, noting.
Yeah, can we have a formal vote from councillors on acknowledging the feedback from previous applicants for the proposer? Councillor Ellis, seconder, Councillor Strauss, all in favour? The abstentions? Carried. So we move on to the first grant application.
The budget summary item that has been inserted.
I'm sorry, we've got to have another item been inserted.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So there was a late addition to the agenda, the budget summary, which was for members to note the budget allocation for the fiscal year 24-25 and committed expenditure. But it might just be a good opportunity to do that before we get into the further rounds of dispensing. So the uncommitted funds to date are for the grants for £44,950, the sponsor for £17,005, and obviously the new venue cost grants of £120,000. The document that's attached to the agenda, it does say that £50,000 available for the youth grant funds, but they were dispensed in the previous meeting, so that's all been allocated. So apologies for that error on the document that was attached, but yeah, if you wouldn't mind noting that. Thank you.
Yes, can we note that, please? Thank you. We okay, then move on to the first applicant. So the first applicant is the Community Counselling CIC. Could we come forward, please, and for consideration? Okay, if you, there's a little button, if you push on there, then we can all.
Either
Yeah.
side should.
Yeah, either
should-
way.
That would,
I think so. It's not allowed, is it?
so. We'll keep it pressed down.
Yes, yeah, the red light's on, that's fine. Yeah.
I just wanted to, thank you for giving consideration to our application. I set up, Community Counselling CIC, formerly known as Wellington Counselling, 6 years ago. On the back of having been a schools counsellor in the Wellington area for a number of years, and established that lots of children in schools were presenting with very complex problems, and there was no immediate source of support for them, and there were very long waiting lists. That was 12 years ago, and I'm afraid the situation is much the same. We have a mental health crisis amongst all populations, but I'm particularly concerned about the impact of the economic crisis, environmental crisis, and the general sort of condition that most children are living under at the moment, which is pretty deplorable, and that actually our focus is on actually looking at well children, well families and well communities, which creates a better sense of community well-being wherever this is possible. My success in setting up the service in Wellington has been followed through by us setting up the service in Bridgewater and in Yeovil. I happen to live in Taunton for 17 years, but worked elsewhere, should I say, and it feels like I need to come home and put into Taunton what I put into other parts of Somerset. So on that basis, the application that has been forwarded to you is asking for a request of £3,830, so that we can begin to address some of the difficulties that children and young people have, and also their parents, their ability to afford counselling. We know that if you have money and you know about counselling, you just buy it and help your children. But unfortunately, that's not the case for everybody. Not everybody knows about the benefits of counselling, and nor do they actually have the funds to deliver that. In the last year, we've had 37 referrals from the Taunton area. 5% of those are actually from schools, and they're also come via GP practices, because we are a member of the Somerset Big Tent. And we are seeing all of those people, but currently those people travel to Wellington or Bridgewater, so they're bringing their children to Bridgewater and Wellington. We would really like to be able to find suitable premises in Taunton and cut out that journey time. Some of our parents actually take their children out of school with school permission to bring them into Wellington. So we're evidencing a need here, and see that this grant actually is just one step of many that we want to take to get as established in Taunton as we are in the other locations that we have in the county. That's more or less it, actually. I could probably talk to you for hours. I'm not going to do that because I'm conscious that many other people want to.
Yes.
Propose this more questions.
Yes, Councillor Harris. Yes.
Thank you so much. Is this working? Thanks ever so much for your very succinct presentation. That was really good. My question was just around, I mean, I'm completely with you on the need for it. And I have a husband has ended up paying for counselling for children. It's desperate and you'll go into debt to do it if you need to. And that's not that acceptable.
No.
And there is a growing need. So you mentioned about looking for premises in Taunton, but have you budgeted that? Is that when it's part of the costings? Okay.
Costing.
Yeah, so what sort of premises are you looking, what are your options? Have you got a good feel for where you might be able to get a good deal and a good suitable place?
So interestingly, what we've established so far is that renting counselling rooms in Taunton is anything £7.50 to £15 an hour, which is a lot of money. That increases all our core costs, as you can possibly imagine. So we're in the process of approaching church groups and other social organisations who have a more reasonable cost per hour. We're also looking at and have made moves to look at the levelling up through the levelling up agenda, whether we're able to look at renting premises or possibly buying premises.
Yes.
Oh, me again, sorry. So like if you, I forget when, I could look it up, but I can't remember when it's due to start, but you have somewhere that you could kind of start it up quite quickly, maybe borrowing or what?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And also, I think that what we're very keen on acknowledging, and we did a survey with all the young people in Wellington over this, and we'd like to see something replicated, is we're all about giving young people choice. And actually, sometimes young people prefer to go online to have their counselling. So that means that we don't have that geographic restriction because our counsellors see them wherever they are at home. We also know that Somerset's got one of the highest levels of small users or people in alternative education, as sometimes we refer to, and they don't want to leave their rooms in some cases. So we're very much about, meeting the young person in this case where they are.
Do we have any other questions? Yeah. Okay, that's lovely. Thank you very much. That's really good. Thank you. Could I just add, I didn't sort of set that up quite, but if you could take about 3 minutes to go through your presentation, that was really good and well timed there. And also, once you've completed your presentation, you can leave or stay if you wish. We'll hear everybody's, and then we councillors will wrap up at the end. But I just missed that in the introduction. Thank you. So we can move on to the next grant applicant, please. Diversity Choice. Voice, sorry.
Diversity Voice. We're a charity which supports anyone that needs support in the community. Mainly our background has been working with advisors, refugees and asylum seekers. We have changed our objectives, our charity objectives, so that we work with all the characteristics now. So we support anyone that needs our help. We thought that in the Taunton area there was that missing link for that support for people to come along to if they feel isolated and just need somewhere to go and have a chat or be signposted on to our organisations. So we thought of our volume, which is called Thrive, which stands for Together, Hope, Respect, Inclusion, Voices and Equality. So we wanted to drop in Taunton once a week on a Wednesday from 11 to 1. We've already got our venue, which is at Boone House, so it's nice and central, really easy to access. And we just want to make sure we're there and we can invite other organisations in to support people and have meetings there. So any like the carers group or definite matters, anyone that needs that support can come along and have a group session there. And we've got our community workers which will be there every Wednesday to help them give you support. And we can, ask them for £2,500 and that will go towards supporting us to be able to carry on with that project. We've already hired the room and we've been there every Wednesday for the last 4 weeks to sort of, or 4 to 6 weeks to do some networking, so, and then just start letting people know that we're here and that we're here to support them with their needs, so that's very, we're ready to go, we've got our branding ready and everything, so we're really excited about the project and, we hope we can, going forward, we would like to, make this project, so that's it, it's out there for anywhere in some states, that we can also give that support to anyone else who's not just, the local area. But we feel that it's important just to feel that link is missing to be able to go on to another. That's it really. So a wide.
Good, that's lovely, thank you. If there any questions from councillors? Yes, can I actually go aside?
What's when how do you contact
We already work with all the diverse groups and their mothers and our social media, but we will do a big sort of campaigns to let everyone know for them. So we've got all our branding put together. We will put Amazon posters, we'll have all around the tool to make sure that everyone knows that the joins is there.
Yes, councillor Ellis.
Hiya, thanks. I'm just trying to get a really good sort of sense of what this will look like in practice if I walked up to the brew. So I have a couple of questions. First is, have you done something similar like in Bridgewater or something that you're basing on? We've done this here, this works, and it'd be great to do this in Taunton, or is it a slightly new kind of project? It's like first question. So and then the second one is, so it's for potentially for anybody, but presumably you are targeting specific groups. Is that right? I've got another one, but maybe that's too many in one go.
Right, so at the moment we run a vocal hub in Bridgewater, which is mainly for sign receivers and refugees, and that is a contract we've been doing over the last 2 years. So we do know how to put the services in place for anyone who wants to come along and needs that support. It is open for anyone who feels isolated or just needs to come in and chat, but we wouldn't turn anyone away. So, and we're there to do all the characteristics. So we have interpreters if they're asylum seekers or refugees. We run a translator interpreting agency, so we've got that support already set up and it's that. So, and our community workers are very experienced in supporting the running drop-in sessions. Actually, our whole office is in Bridgewater, other days of training as well. So, we've had this experience and been doing it for about the last 50 years.
Yes, also, yeah.
So yeah, so it's basically, I mean, it's primarily aimed maybe at refugees and asylum seekers, but the idea is anybody, it could be anybody, but they're probably the group in biggest need, but you're kind of going to be flexible. So it could, so if I rock up to this, is it I get a free cup of coffee and a tea, and is there some like activity I can be doing meanwhile? And how will it kind of feel, the session? So you just drop in and hope and wait to talk to somebody, or is there something going on?
Yeah, we will have activities going on. We will do activities where we are at the moment. It could be with organisations in and maybe do an art therapy session, or we can do in lots of other parks and activities, or we will get other organisations in to give some talks and things or to be there. So we're advertising in there that week. And yeah, you can just come in, you can just, it's entirely open and free. You can sit down and just have a coffee and chat if that's what we want to do. But if it's a more serious thing, we can they want to talk sort of safely, we can take them to the side and have a quiet talk with them. And then signpost them on to services like, because we're a partner in the Open Mental Health Alliance, so we work with, the mental health support services, our partnership, so with, you know, we've got internal learning systems in that schools, we work closely with citizens advice, so we'll have them along our sessions and sometimes, any of the services, you know, we can actually get them there to be available.
Any other questions? Sorry, any other questions? Good. Can I just ask one? You say it's towards supporting what you do. Can you just be a little bit more specific? What would it be going towards? Is it a specific project or just running costs or?
It's mainly the running costs of it because, obviously we had to pay our staff to be there, and we had to pay for the venue. So the support is free and referral to all the services is free, and that's, but it's mainly the running costs of what it will.
That's good. Do you have funding from any other organisation?
We have actually today, that we've just got a small grant from the Sunset Foundation to help with our community support, so we will put that towards the city.
Lovely. Thank you for your time. That's really
We
good.
also we use on one board. We've reserved, we don't actually have board, but our reserve.
Thank you. That's really good. If there's no other questions, we can move on. Oh, sorry, Marcus has got a question.
Not a question directly, Chair. I was just noting in the application form, obviously, you mentioned that you're the mayor's charity for this year, and obviously the mayor's on the panel today, so I wonder if might be pertinent just to declare that as an interest, councillor Garfield. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If we can move on to the next one, which is Escape Support Group. Sarah, lovely. Right.
Can I give you some number crunching first, just to tell you, explain where Escape started? So in the UK, there's 1 million disabled children under the age of 16, which is a 1 in 20, basically. 99.1% of those children live at home with their families, and half of those families are at risk of experiencing poverty. Their income is 25% less than the national average, and only 16% of mothers with disabled children work, compared to 61 other mothers. It costs 3 times as much to raise a disabled child. So we're a charity that supports families raising children with disabilities. Escape was born in 2000. Basically, mums at the top of the opportunity play group decided that one parent said it's too embarrassing to go swimming, people stares at us, our child splashes everyone. So they just started hiring St James swimming pool once a week, and members would go along, well, there's 8 families to start with, and take their children swimming. Other families found out about it and said, can we come along? It grew. At the same time, there were 2 other groups in the county, Cozy and the Cozy group, had a star group, and they realised there's a lot of families that were looking for the same sort of thing, whereby they wanted to go out and do things, but they wanted to feel supported and not go at, I don't know. And so the families started going out together, started doing trips. That was in 2000, and now in 2024 we have over 180 families registered with us, and we do many things now. We still run a swimming club fortnightly in the swimming pool. We do weekly trips during the school holidays, where this year we're going to Creevy, we're going to Sunset Boat Centre, we're going to the Donkey Sanctuary next month, and going to Butlins, Zoo. We're taking anything from 76 members to 121 a day. We'll provide transport that's accessible if we need it to be accessible. We've got very good relations with berries. We run a monthly club, which is a drop-in for any families that come along at Munson Heathfield, where they can come along as a whole family
and spend quality time together doing activities. We have people come in and do the cake baking and making videos with music, all sorts. We have a coffee and chat club every month for parents of our children at school. We have a parents' lunch club, we have a Christmas lunch for carers, we have an annual special, which we can go away for 2 or 3 nights, take the whole family. The last one was 196 members to London for 3 days. A spa day, carers weekend away where no children are allowed to come and parents get to rewind and recharge their batteries. We have a strikeout club for siblings of disabled children, and we've just introduced a family fun club because the parents were saying, well, how come the kids get to have all the fun? We come along, so we said, well, okay, so these are the things we do. It costs about £50,000 a year for Escape to Run. That's our full cost. We have 4 part-time staff, and I think Debbie applied for funding towards our costs. In the last 2 years, if anybody in the case people will know that the wages have been up 10% each year in the last 2 years, which has impacted hugely on us, because we don't pay minimum wage, we pay living wage, but that's very close. So 10% and 4 people is quite a big chunk. That's ridiculous. That's good it is. But everything we do is the only job I've ever had where I have to find my own wages, which is literally everything that we found applicants. Just such a fundraising, and we do balls, do pressure jumping, do all sorts to try and get finance. So that's why I'm here. Able to support us.
Good. Thank you. Any questions from councillors? Caroline Ellis.
Hello, well, thank you so much. I totally see the need for this. I've got some past experience of this and understand the impact and how important it is for people to find people who they feel comfortable with, or families that, you know, you feel you're your peers, basically, and also how much as well siblings, you know, can lose out from all the things being 12 people that parents, oh yeah, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. So I think it's great organisation. So is it 84, I think, from the form? Is it 84? Is that about right for Taunton families? As we'll be contributing.
We've got 100 and I think we've got 186 as of yesterday. So basically, that's the Taunton family.
Yeah.
We've got Somerset, so we've got quite a lot of surgical Wellington, got a few from Shepton Manor, Minehead. That's the most challenging because getting to our meeting points for our trips. See, they've got a big journey before we get to the coaches, but that's something we were trying to look at, whether or not we can do some outreach in those areas.
But that's quite a substantial number, I guess, from our point of view, thinking about Taunton, the number of families who would benefit. That's right. And how does it work? So like if I got involved and I went on a trip and I had like minimal funds, what elements are paid, or is it like, does it depend? Is it like a sliding scale, or is it all free? If
we did a trip, say we want to go to Crete for the day, we'll go online and we'll say, right, family of 4, what would they pay? It would be £80 for 4 people. Yeah. So we want to make it 40 and we want to get them there. So we'll try and, because obviously we get group discounts, we're able to get a good deal with various. We'll try and make it so that that family pay no more than 40 and they get there. They're supported while they're there. We've got staff members with them all the time, unless it includes their transport. So although it's £40, it's half of what they would pay. And everything's done for them. So they literally just rock up at the coach, get on, we'll give them a wristband, say go as well, get back on the coach and drop them back home. They don't want to worry about parking or children picking up in the back of the car when they're trying to drive them away, and you know, it's all done. And if you speak to our members, they know us. We have a great time.
Thank you.
Good. Councillor Strauss. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was a very interesting presentation. I see from your application that you look after about 300 adults and 400 children, which is a fair number. Roughly, what proportion of those are in Taunton
84 of the families, so out of 184 families, 56 I think it is, 84 at the moment are registered as Taunton.
About,
Okay, yeah.
thank you, that's helpful.
That's good. Any other questions? Councillor Ellis, do you have one?
I did, sorry, stupid computer thing. I can't remember how much was it you asked for again, and damn it, where's this information?
Right.
Fine, okay, my question, yes, I thought it might be more, so on average, we give slightly smaller, so presumably anything would be welcomed.
Anything, yeah, because you almost in the as well.
Thank you. A really good presentation, and thank you for your time for coming to us. That's really good. Thank you. Don't mind if you don't know, it's there.
Oh,
Spare that.
yes.
That's great. Thank you very much. Can we have the next presenter, which is the Hesterton Gardens Trust? Sorry, I do apologise. I've missed what was Go Create. I do apologise. Please go ahead.
So, I think most of you know, I'm just very, very quickly run through that. As a community interest company, GoPro's been making the arts accessible since 2014. And since 2015, we've been producing arts festivals, instigating art trails, creating murals. We've worked in collaboration with other organisations such as climate action groups, national organisations to raise awareness through art. We've supported emerging artists through exhibitions, etc., etc. And having planned and delivered workshops in schools to encourage greater contributions to our festivals, we saw the need for actually supporting the community with workshop sessions outside of festivals, just an ongoing thing. And so we started to run these community sessions at the Arts Club in 2021. So we began as holiday art sessions and a wellbeing session for adults, and then we expanded our provision to include a haven for home educated young people to follow an arts supports programme, and sessions for those suffering from dementia and their carers most recently. And so we've had a lot of sort of town council support in the past, which is great. Unfortunately, all of the activities that we do are dependent on securing grant funding from one source or another. And we had 23-24 was covered by an Arts Council grant. And we have several plans. We have applied for a National Lottery Community grant, which unfortunately was unsuccessful. So we've currently got a grant application into the Paul Hamlin Foundation and another big lottery grant, and we're currently in the process of doing another Arts Council. But what we're asking for basically is a small amount of money towards continuing the two of the most important groups that we're running, which is the Home Educated Children's Group and the Wellbeing Wednesday, which Jenny runs and we have had money support of that before, but because of the lack of funding forthcoming from some of the other organisations, we're asking for a bit to keep us going. Our Tuesday session supports 9 young people on a regular basis, and they're working towards the arts and laws. And there's currently between sort of 15 and 20 adults attending Wednesday sessions. And they value this as the highlight of the week. And we just need a bit of stopgap funding in order to try to make sure that these carry on, because we really feel that to not run these would actually be wrong on so many levels. We also want to point out that Go Create is always dependent on grant funding, and neither Jenny or I have our standard routes at all. We do all our organisation planning is on a voluntary basis, and we only get paid when we deliver workshops and for actual that's anyway. The impact of both of these groups has been absolutely huge, and they are at capacity in each group. And basically, our groups our main thing about is making the arts open and accessible to all. So people come along and possibly we need a little bit of money to type stages that we need to pay the artists to run them, but also some of the people coming along can only afford a very minimal amount towards the materials. We are asking contributions on a sliding scale in order to, to help things out, but it doesn't always cover, well, it doesn't cover the costs. So, Jen, do you want to add to the?
Yeah, I just wanted to say also, if people come along and they can't get anything, then obviously we don't want to turn them away. So we have referrals from Mind, from Foundation House. So we have mental health that I have a lot of experience with in mental health and worked for 10 years. We also have referrals from Mark. So we have a regular young man who is homeless, and every week he tries to pay, even if it's just £1, sometimes can't. And it's a massively valued provision for a really diverse group who beautifully are forming really lovely friendships between themselves, and a great support network within that. So yeah, it's a very wonderful, actually.
Lovely, thank you both. Any questions from councillors? Yes, councillor Lees.
Yeah, this is a relatively small amount of money, but it sounds like it's going to do a lot of good as well. So if we give the full amount, how long will that keep you floating along if we run out again?
Right, well, as I say, we've got two big funding applications pending at the moment. One to Port Hamlin Foundation to support the young people, and another one to the big lottery to support the Wednesday Right support all of these. That small amount of money will keep us going until the end of September, which is the targeted time for these grants coming in. So we sort of tend to plan on a bit of a rolling thing. The application we put into the National Lottery Building Communities for the capital grant, and it's to keep us going for 2 years, but unfortunately there were a million other applications, so we didn't get that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. If there's, oh, sorry, councillor Strauss.
Thank you, Chair. Very interesting application, a lot of information in there, very well presented. How long has the organisation been going?
So great.
Yes.
Oh, since 2014.
Right. So you've had a few challenges on that.
We're coming up to our 10-year anniversary in October. Yeah, we've had a fair few challenges, and mostly we've operated on a project basis. So
Yes.
the festivals and these, we've had a lot of Arts Council funding for festivals and so on as projects. And again, when we first set up the Arts Hub, we sort of passed with it up as a project for the Arts Council, and they were very keen to, and they supported that. I have to say, we are in the process of doing another application to them. I did put it off a bit because anyone that's done one before knows the time it takes, and I was trying a few other places first, but we are very happy with that as well.
Thank you very much.
So, councillor Ellis.
Just quickly, because I'm very familiar with both services, what presumably the impact of not having the stopgap running, having this hiatus, what would you estimate that be in terms of these quite vulnerable groups who are kind of getting so much from these support?
Yeah, well, I can talk sort of. But I could go on and on about this, but no, certainly for the Wellbeing Wednesday, pretty much every session they say, have you got funding yet for us to continue? Have you got funding yet? And I say, oh, but don't worry, everything will be fine. Knowing that it might not. But one of my clients who was referred from Mind said the other day that he woke up and he was awake with Mind because he was so stressed about it, which is started to make me feel nice about being Wednesday, but you get how much of an impact it's having. I just thought it might not continue, which what should we do about it other than keep asking for funding for it to continue? Yeah.
Any other questions? No, thank you, ladies, for your presentation. Really good. Thank you for your in-depth. Sorry for the mess up, but now it's Hester Coombs Garden Trust. Thank you.
So I'm Hester Coombs Housing Gardens, which obviously is just on the edge of town. We've been sort of running engagement projects for about 10 years, I guess, mainly through the sort of gallery stream. As you can see, this project is quite complex. It's a big, complex project, like all our projects seem to end up as. But we're asking for £2,500, and that is very much towards the engagement with our kind of local communities. The main community of which is Kaiserwood and North Swansea. We kind of believe, I guess, that, well, I do firmly believe that engagement is a very long-term process. It often takes years to build up relationships with people. And certainly, I think post-COVID, very totally off script, I apologise, but I think post-COVID, we found ourselves desperately trying to sort of help people, sort of local communities, especially the people in kind of sheltered housing that kind of are still, I believe, struggling, you know, to get out and do things. So we've been bringing people up, testing them, from a prize board for, I guess, seriously for about 3 years, and just almost just allowing them to walk and talk. And what we've discovered is that they've got a great interest in this, partly because a lot of those people remember it. They've been there before it was ever a sort of Belgian trust, and they want to sort of partake. So the element to me of this project is very much about co-creation. It's about making things together. So the ideas in the project has very much come from them. So those things about local people's relationships, testing, Second World War, things like that, fire brigade, all those things from these people. So the £2,500 really is about supporting the work to develop. Should I say one other thing?
Yeah.
Which is just about the importance of local government funding and the local council funding. I don't think you can underestimate how and I would probably go and create, sorry, I'm not. Keep going, that's important. I would say that you can't underestimate the small buckets of money that local councils give to these organisations that help lever in bigger pots of money from outside, bigger agencies. I think, you know, the more you can do, and I take that to the council. It's putting money where its mouth is and trying to, you know, keep the cultural side going. It's very important. So I just want to say that a few couple
Lovely. Any comments from councillors or questions? Councillor Ellis?
Going to end up more of a comment, but yeah, Hestercombe was something that we used to fund at Somerset West and Taunton out of our arts and culture budget. And yeah, very widely, I think, because it did then lever in, I think it was Arts Council or somebody else. Yeah, the bigger trust. So yeah, but also I know from it's not just sheltered people in sheltered housing that you've been working with. Do you want to say about some other groups that you've particularly been working with over a long period?
So I know we've worked with thousands of children, local children. I'm involved in a project at this moment in time with Bowen School that's about developing young curators. And that's kind of part on the edge of the kind of Quantox project that has just developed a film with young people. And that film is just about to go into our next exhibition. So we work with lots of partners, work with the sort of wildlife trust on things to do with, private rights and all that stuff. There's a lot that we do. We work with a lot of neurodivergent people, and so it goes on. It's about where the need is really. So one thing we have done is work with garden groups and more, because obviously we have a load of gardens and they're quite expert in what they do. And so just bringing local gardening groups from some of the sort of different neighbourhoods, who are trying to plant their own sort of areas, spending the day with our gardeners is invaluable. And we've obviously had to track down a head gardener various places in Taunton and lots of places. It's that kind of work really. So we believe we have a certain area that we can offer. As the current since the pandemic, I think as people have realised, even people that work there, what an important place it is for well-being. To get out and about and just have that space. And obviously, the more bypassing ticket offices we can do, better.
Good, thank you. Councillor Strauss, did you have a question?
Just an observation. I've lived in Taunton for 7 years, and I've come across so many wonderful projects that have come out of this. And we're very fortunate to have you.
Organics.
That's lovely. Thank you for your presentation. Very good. Very well received. Thank you.
You'd like the escape.
So moving on to item 10, grant application from North Taunton Scout Group. Following this one, if we have a couple of minutes break, if anyone like to come for a break or another glass of water or something, we're about halfway through. Thank you.
That's not intimidating at all. Yes, I'm the Scout Group, with the second oldest Scout Group in Taunton, in Ipswich, because I worked in the Scout Group, operating since 1909. We operate out of Scout Hut at St Andrews, serving the communities of Great Barton, Linfield, Pricewood, Perland, etc. sector. The application is for some funding towards renovations of our Scout Huts. So Scout Huts is relatively cheap build from the 1960s, with all the issues associated with that. Obviously, in the 1960s, they were looking at accessibility, so we need to renovate it, and we also need to increase the accessibility that we're going to meet requirements of the young people that we serve at the moment. It's just some simple things like windows, because our windows are broken and not fit for purpose, but sort of things like accessible toilet facilities, sort of increasing width of doorways, and just simple things like that. So that's it. I don't know if there's any questions.
Councillors, any questions? No, not from. I just would like to note for the record that I am the area is in my ward, just as a interest. But Councillor Ellis, question?
So is it, you said in your application form, at the moment you can't use the building?
Unfortunately, in late spring, windows got vandalised and so they're now dangerous, which means that obviously can't have you. I would say normally summer's fine. You can go out during summer, so we weren't expecting such a wonderful summer, but we're really keen to get this work done before we come back to the autumn term, which starts in September.
Any other questions?
Just a comment. I was just up there today because I was running an activity at St Andrews, looking at the hut and thinking, oh man, yeah, I can quite see the need. You know, it's great to have that extra, that space. but it looked, yeah, rather like one of my outbuildings.
Yeah, as with many groups, we do charge membership fee, but that covers the dwelling. You can't charge the patient improvements. So you have to see the capital funds. Very keen, knowing the areas that we serve and don't want to put that membership fee up and the only people that we serve.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Chair,
Rob, oh, sorry, councillor Strauss.
I did say I had no questions, but just one thing, an observation, I'm just interested in your reaction. Vandalism is a major problem in Taunton. You're going to rebuild the scout and window and so on. What precautions do you think we can take to minimise the risk of it being damaged again?
We've been, I would say we've been very fortunate in the fact that we've had very limited vandalism in the past. The previous vandalism was when the scout up down in the early 1970s. So it seems extreme when it does happen, but it's very limited. The sort of with the discussion with the church and village hall and the social club as well about issues such as should we be looking at some sort of joint CCTV scheme there, and they're both very receptive to that. By getting sort of, we want to get the works done. We are looking at sort of reducing that central program for that site.
I'm very sympathetic to say it's a common problem, I think, but thank you.
Any other questions? No, thank you very much. Thank you. So we could just take 5 minutes to stretch legs, refresh water, toilet break. 5, thank you.
I'm so glad I signed that.
Yeah, that's great to get in touch with you about the cultural development budget. That's-
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
So I don't think you initially said, yeah. If you have any changes.
Well, that's, I just think we need to, I mean, you can use that, I could use it in a billion ways. It wouldn't take much to work out what to do with it. I don't want to go off and do like something and it turns out, well, actually, no, but it's just think about it, this is because we're going to have to keep coming in, ridiculous. We usually are through, not just me.
Those funds have been on there since the cost of 1 year. Yeah. Yeah. It's going to pop.
Yes. State of trust. I missed it.
Yeah.
We have to do budget, that number of cars.
Yes.
This is the old one.
So that's 12 then.
Yes. They don't have a representative here, so.
That's 13, and that's just one on, isn't it? 14, 15. How's it going, Joe? Am I doing okay?
Yeah.
I'm getting better, but I guess it's like juggling. Got to push button.
Thing of greens is.
With those tablets, I think they, well, they calmed me down a bit. I thought, as he said, it keeps going and it's going. I'm going on holiday, I don't want to. What am I stepping on? It must be quite a bit about Bamber's and steps and he's 40 yards from there. And it's hard, it's about.
Yeah.
Better? I did think it's the same. Martin is, I think everybody's back. Is that be right?
Just call. Yes, in his place, yeah.
Say hello.
Hello, everybody. Could we resume now? We've got a lot to get through still. Martin, Councillor Strauss, could we get back, please?
Speak.
You must be seeing it. Yeah, and the last I saw, he was doing a little video of himself and then in their nature. And had their sort of induction then, and they all walked across all 72 of them. All across the grid.
Thank you. If we can continue, item 12 on our agenda is state of trust grant application, but there is nobody able to articulate on their behalf this evening. We've had the full written application come through, which we will look on, discuss at the end of the meeting. So we can move on to item 13, which is Taunton Pride CIC, please.
So all things being well, this would be the fourth time that Taunton Pride was run. We are going to be in Whitebury Park again on the 21st of September. The application for sponsorship that you've got in front of you is of course for operational costs. We applied for operational costs because we have made the tickets free this year and we prefer to whenever we possibly can. There were various reasons why we couldn't do that last year. But this year we have a full board of directors in place and also a large organisational team, and it's giving us extra capacity to apply for funding. So we are able to make the event free at point of entry. We see this, the reason that I got involved in Taunton Pride is because in areas like ours, there are a lot of people from the LGBT plus community who feel isolated. It's much harder for people to come forward. It's much harder to meet people. There's a lot more social isolation in general, but that's kind of amped up when it's with the LGBT plus community. We've had feedback from events in previous years that people felt safe, they felt represented. We had somebody attend Taunton Pride last year, and it was the first time they were trans, and this was the first time that they attended as their true identity. So we do feel like we're having an impact on the lives of some people by providing a safe space for them. Last year, I think we had around 3,000 people on site throughout the course of the day. The blueprint and the event management plan, things for this event are all largely in place. It's going to be largely the same model as last year, so the event is up and ready to coin the phrase. And we are applying for sponsorship because we would like to see Taunton Town Council as partners on the event this year. And of course, the cost you've got in front of you are for upfront operating costs to actually to put the event on.
Thank you. Questions from councillors, please? Councillor Ellis first. Thank you.
Thanks. So last year, I remember the weather was atrocious, wasn't it? And it was also the small mention of a clash, but I think it was the Somerset County Show, which I don't think is on this year.
Yeah.
So what numbers can you cater for and what numbers are you expecting?
So it is dependent on weather, but we are licensed, the license is already in place. We are licensed up to 10,000 people. So when permitting, we've got potential for it to be a significant event in the park. We believe that as well as the LGBT plus aspect of it, there's also potential for significant footfall into Taunton. There's an economic benefit. We believe that under the right conditions, we can put on a festival, an LGBT plus themed festival on the scale of a full scale event in Library Park. Getting this event started, and it's been happening on a regular basis, year on year, is sort of like pulling the drawstring of the motor. And I feel like with a final pull, it can get going, become self-sustainable, and become a sort of regular fixture in Taunton, which is what we would like to see it being. I can't control the weather, but we can have contingencies in place for it. One of our sponsors this year has also got corporate sponsors, I should say, has also got a 14-day in advance, 80% accurate weather forecasting capability through their office. So we'll be making good use of that. Yeah, we feel like this is, or I feel like, not that I'm biased, this is to some extent low-hanging fruit. For the town council, we got to see the Wigan on the departments this year, and the event is ready to go.
Good. Councillor Ellis, question?
There's kind of an important, it's great entertainment being a Pride. There's always amazing entertainment. And it's great to see a lot of the youth groups like TubeU there, and they just, they're absolutely in their element. And it's just lovely. Lots of families that, like literally it's for everybody. So you've got that. And you've also got like lots of information points for like sexual health and stuff like that. So it kind of feels like it's doing a lot in one event, and it kind of works. But there's also a sense in which you might have touched on this when you talk about new footfall, isn't it the case that there's it does, if there's a Pride on, you do get quite a lot of people coming into a town, maybe staying overnight. Yeah. And it's because there is a Pride. There could be weather dependent on the scalability and the size of it, but there's also an economic benefit to the town.
There is, yeah. I mean, I can say last year we had people coming from London, South Wales, Cornwall, Devon, Birmingham. When you say that you're running Pride, I'm pleased to say that we're not clashing with any other local Prides this year either. You do draw in people from a very wide net, and there's also a lot of flexibility in the type of event you can run. But since we've got Library Park, and I just know that it's great this year, and we think we can run a really spectacular festival in Library Park, and it's got the potential for that scale, and it's got the potential for that annual, recurring possibility to bring people out in the cultural calendar.
Any other questions? Caroline?
Sorry. What was it? There are two questions. Oh God, brain death. Sorry, it's been a weird week. Oh yes. Well, one question was around if we aren't able to give you the full amount that you've asked for sponsorship, is it a question of any goodly amount will be help?
Yeah, certainly any amount will help. We should be able to adapt our operational costs if some of the funding, not all the funding we apply for, comes through. We do have other sources of revenue. We have got sponsorship. We have donations, which we hope to make the most of, and kind of thing. So it is free, but you can donate, please. We've got lots of different ways around that, and there is a lot of flexibility, as I've said, in a Pride event. You can scale it down slightly, you can scale it up slightly. People don't mind. They're there to celebrate. They're there because it's a less friendly, safe space. So you do have that certain amount of give. and anything that could be put towards it from the town council.
Any other questions? Councillor Strauss?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Do you have any organisations renting store space to provide services? And
Yeah.
has this grown since last year?
So last year we had about 60 stallholders. That's a mixture of food and drink, but also local community groups who were allowed to pitch up for free. They are allowed again for free this year. Charities, sexual health clinics, homeless services, wellbeing area, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, there are a lot of different pitches. There's a lot of space in Highbury Park. There were 60 last year. I think we've probably got about 35, 40 booked at this stage now in September. You can see up to 60 by the time we're in September.
And the attendance should be very good this year as it's free.
Well, it should be, yeah. And if all the stars align, yes, the attendance should be. We think it was about 3,000 a day last year. But yeah, we are less than 10,000 and we're aiming to grow year on year.
The armed services late this weekend, and that particular number, they had 35 in 36,000. It was as big as the national event, and that has grown. So hopefully we will have more people this year than you did last year.
Fingers crossed. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Ellis?
I'm sorry, just making a declaration that my husband donated to Pride CIC from one of his businesses, so I just wanted to make that, to put that out in public. Yeah, it's up there.
Thank you. Any other questions? I've got one, if I may. You mentioned you're becoming self-sustainable or self-funding. What's the plans for that? And that's a very interesting sort of comment.
Right, so what I meant was that we would like to see the events running annually, continuously. We want people to expect it, and we want to be able to have a solid board of directors in place. We can apply for funding on a regular basis. I mean, the reason we couldn't apply for funding last year was because we have quite a high turnover of directors, and only 3 minimum. This year we have that. And we also have a management team in place. So it's about making the CIC more robust and having more management capacity and the ability to apply for more grant funding, networking more in the town, getting more regular sponsors from the local businesses and things going on board, which even local companies have done. Luckily, we've got returning sponsors from last year. So we think with that kind of allowing that kind of give, that kind of robustness in the organisation will allow us to run it year on year, and we would like for the team to begin expecting it to run and turning out accordingly.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you for clearing that up. That's lovely. Any other questions? No? Thank you. That's really good. Thank you for your time. So if we could move on now to item 14, grant application Taunton Rugby Football Club. Thank you.
Thank you very much for allowing me to be here. I think I'll start with the core values of rugby. They're based on teamwork, respect, enjoyment, discipline, and sportsmanship. Those are the guidelines that are given to us by the RFU, and it's something that at Taunton Rugby Club we hold exactly the same. Those are our values that we provide to kids from the age of 6 years old to 17, and then hopefully by which stage they carry on playing and join our senior setups. Although I work at Taunton Rugby Club, I've been a member there since I was 7 years old. Some of my best memories as a kid being there with my parents, being with my dad, and it's something that I feel like I've learned these values more through rugby than I have through potentially my time at school, which is probably more on me than anything. On a Sunday, if you came down to the rugby club, you would see up to 400 kids running around, spending their time in the fresh outdoors, looking around, seeing the parents chatting, having coffees. And obviously we know how important it is nowadays for kids to get out, play sport. But equally, I think it's important for the parents, single parents, to be able to have those conversations with other parents there at the rugby club at the same time. The reason for our application this year is due to the weather and the funds we have available, our pitch has just been destroyed. And probably 6 or 7 Sundays last year, we were unable to fulfill the training sessions, the matches that were meant to be happening down at the club. And obviously you can imagine the impacts for a child or parents looking forward to coming down on the Sunday, spending some time playing, forgetting about everything else in the world. So we're looking to invest more into our pitches so we can provide that on a more regular basis.
Thank you. Any questions from councillors? No, I have one if I may. We did see on the application when we went through, it was for sand and grass seed and things, but is that now being dealt with? Is this something?
We've done some of the works, there's obviously a lot of fresh and ground, but I assume there's a time of year that's the best time of year to do it, so we have done some of the work, but we haven't fulfilled it as much as we would like to do. There's obviously a pot that's available to us through self-funding, and we've done some of the work, but not to the capacity that we would like to. Touching on someone else's comment they said earlier, we're exactly in the same boat. Yes, we could fund it through increasing our junior membership for next season, but it's not something we want to do. Our insurance has gone up, the cost of our electric's gone up, everything does the same, for everything in the head, but we could be self-funded, but we don't want to pass that cost on to the juniors that we got to play.
Would there be longer term plans for drainage of the area rather than, this would be short term sort of fixing the problem, but not the root cause of the situation perhaps?
In the world, yes. We look at the applications through the RFU for these sorts of things that are very few and far between. We get £0 from the RFU being our governing body, whereas back in the day they had all sorts of things available, but now there's no real support available from the RFU. So in short, yes, it'd be something we want to look at, but it would need a good plan to be put in place to be able to fund it.
Yeah, okay, that's lovely. Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to get a handle. It's amazing, like 400. It's like you've got 346 kids, so that's a lot of children that you're providing for. How does it kind of work? So you can join from when you're like a tiny weeny little kitty thing.
Yeah.
And do you like have training sessions? Do they have little mini teams that have little matches, or how does that all work? I'm just trying to get a handle. Well, I have to come up and have a butcher's.
Yeah, it's exactly like you said. So you start off when I think it starts at 5 years old. You turn up, you meet your coaches who are quite often volunteers and parents, and they'll take that team all the way through to the other 17s. All teams will play on a Sunday morning. So the first team might come through at 9 o'clock, play against other local teams. Then the next group will come in at 10 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, then 12 o'clock. Just got a ladies team that starts in, and also a girls team that's playing now as well. So it's more that we're getting more teams coming through to playing, and we need to make sure the pitches can withstand those extra feet running.
That's lovely. Any other questions? Nope. Thank you, Nicholas. That's lovely. Thank you very much for your presentation. So we can move on to the next item, item 15, please, which is the sound of the streets. Thank you.
Hello. Essentially, the sound of the streets made a big noise in the streets, and I have a big voice because I have to have a big voice across lots of the time. So I'll try and turn. There we go. That's what normally, and that should pick me up. So the Sound of the Streets, we're a charity. We create free participatory events in streets and public places, and we run education projects supporting and inspiring young people to make music. Street music is a fantastic way of getting young people to play instruments. You've already funded our youth drum program, which will be starting in September and October. And we put on events in Somerset, but we're also a national organisation. So our website and Facebook is a focus for national street band activity and international. Unfortunately, we didn't get our arts events run this year, like most people. Very difficult time for funding. So our application has changed because of that. So we're now asking for money to just keep ourselves sustained, like other people have done, keep ourselves going over the autumn and in the new year. So that means we're going to put on a smaller, we're not calling it a festival because I think that'd be too grand, a Sound of the Streets weekend in Goodlands Gardens and Castle Green, working with the independent market in September. And we've got some bands coming from around. We had a Dutch band wanted to come this year, but we can't afford them to come this year, but I don't next year. So this is to do September, 2 days, Goodlands Gardens, working with the independent market on the Sunday, having events on Goodlands Gardens, and we're also working with Jason and Subby Sun. We're going to do some stuff on the river. Just putting into that. So it's a nice little tryout. I know you've got plans for the river, so that's September. So the money would help us with that, would also help us make a bigger contribution to the Tiger stage at Talk Together. Already our street band, pilot showcase street bands playing at that, and our youth band, and we're now looking at making a carnival band and some people that play already. So that it would support that, it would support our insurance, and in some ways, not doing a festival this year is quite good because it means we can concentrate on next year and making some big applications and trying to go, and gives time to put an application in, and then again, if it doesn't work. So essentially, we're asking for some sustaining money to keep us going and keep our activities going. We've been very good at supporting us in the past, and people work very closely together. And so it's problems. Carry on making a noise. It's great. And encouraging other people to make a noise as well.
Thank you. Any questions from councillors? Councillor Ellis?
I don't have to be more of a comment. Yeah, no, it's completely free. The festival, you're calling it a street band gathering, aren't you, for September?
Well, street band, no.
Or not, what are you calling it?
This will be just Sound of the Streets event with bands coming and playing and participatory stuff, singing the whole, our big programs, street band gathering, which was having bands coming from around the country to come and join and share together and create things. That is, we can't do that because we haven't got any money. So, because that would have meant supporting them to come and this band from Holland and everything. So this year it will be like a mini festival. Keeping going. We've got our youth band, and other youth bands and things like that. So it's a sort of keeping our noise in the streets while we work on the bigger things next year. Yeah.
But essentially, it's like basically a mini free festival, because I remember last September, people almost couldn't believe they were in Goodlands Gardens. They was like, oh, it's free. It's a free festival.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about participation and the idea that festivals aren't being due pay 250 quid to go. They're for everyone. So that's the essence of what the Streets is about. And we're for everyone, but also inspiring people to make music themselves. Yeah.
That's great. Any other questions, councillors? Can I just ask you, you've got plans for, sorry, we go to councillor Garside then.
Yes, Ryan just said that you were hoping to ask for more money than anticipated. Exactly how much were you going to ask for?
No, I think we were asking for 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, and we still be asking for 2,000. I think essentially in terms of our costs, to put on the Goodlands Gardens event is going to cost us about 500 quid from you. and pay back £800 insurance per year, and it will also help us put something bigger for Taunton together. But we have got, we've got £3,000 of our money, we've got some youth drumming stuff, and we've got stuff in matching track as well. We have funding. So this will add to a pot of around 8 to 10 grand for the next 6 months.
Sorry, I'm just going to ask a question. You were talking about larger things for next year. What are your plans and for funding that for next year?
So next year, well, we've still got a 3-year plan, which is about next year having going back to our first year, we got a big Arts Council grant, and that enabled us to bring some really quite big names in from London, the Caribbean Group, Connecticut Blocko, people from Scotland. So we'd like to do that again, but also have the whole idea of a street band gathering of bands coming from the UK and Europe to Taunton. But our longer term plans are around parades and processions. So this will be working on that. And Westlands have got a stupidly ambitious plan for 2 or 3 years time, which can be around lottery funding and looking at helping and encouraging people to look at their own parade and procession traditions and creating a show in case procession and parading. About 10 years ago, we put on a conference about green technology, parades and processions and tools, and we'd like to carry on that.
It's really good. Thank you for your really in-depth presentation on that. Really good. Thank you very much. Really good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on, item 16, which is the TYCA Arts Taunton, please.
Can't clap and make noise for everyone. As well, it's like when people start feeling left down. Hello, starting the presentation and then questions. Long story short, Taunton Youth Culture and Arts Festival is, the name festival makes it sound like it kind of happens on a day or a few days, but in reality, it's a year-round arts engagement program for young people in Taunton. Our annual cycle roughly models the academic year. So it starts in September and it comes to its conclusion around this point of year. So in our last festival cycle, just a couple of numbers, we worked with 2,595 young participants in Taunton, that is 8 to 25-year-olds. And our resources are, we work with everyone from all walks of life, but our resources are always highly concentrated around those who would otherwise have the least arts engagement opportunities. So we are working in Taunton's most underprivileged areas, and the young people that we're working with are so much higher than average across all of the kind of protected characteristics that increases negative life outcomes chances. We're roughly like double the regional average for potential number. We work with all of the non-fee paying schools in Taunton and all the non-fee paying colleges in Taunton. Sorry, secondary plus, not the primaries. But yeah, all of the non-fee paying secondary schools and colleges, youth groups. We've had over the last year, it was more than 30 partner organisations. So like, we really are actually working with everyone. I don't believe there is an arts or youth, or specifically youth arts organisation in Taunton that we're not working with. If there are any, please let us know, because yeah, we're open doors. We have a very active policy to view anyone doing similar things as us as potential collaborators, not as like rivals. We're trying to kind of bring the sector together. Yeah, so our last festival cycle, which ended this time last year, The cumulative participation was 5,867 participations. That would be, if you had a group of 30 who did 3 sessions each, that's 90 participations, because it's participants times sessions. And it all comes together in main 3 festival events. Last year, we had just under 600 people presenting performances or visual artwork across a number of different festival days. All of these numbers that I'm talking about were last year's. We're expecting to roughly double them all this year. This year's cycle is very much mid-flow. Our largest day of the year is this Saturday. I believe everyone's already been invited. Hopefully see as many of you as possible there. If you want to know what we're about, it's going to be pretty obvious there. It's inside and outside the brew house. It's free. We'll pay us a fee. We've got like 5 or 6 theatre productions, bands, DJs, visual artists, like across the board. Yeah, this year, as well as that festival day, we deliver our school theatre festival, which was in June this year. And this year we had 5 secondary schools and 2 colleges. Again, a programme of build-up work from September to June, where they will all be given the same piece of stimulus to devise original theatre based on the theme. This year's theme is Out There. And then they all came together at Tackle Morris and shared their productions that they had built up for it. As well as that, we have fundraising events. We had a Battle of the Bands event just like 3 or 4 weeks ago. And we have a number of festival events that happen over the course of the summer. And this year we are also running the Tyker area at Taunton Together, which is going to be on September the 28th. And essentially, where we see our place in the kind of Taunton Together community is a space that can be programmed by young people. I haven't yet said that everything that we do, our whole annual cycle, is delivered closely in partnership with 15 young people. They're meeting at the Bold and the Brave as we speak. I need to run from here to get there before 8 o'clock. It's our last session until Saturday, and they're very busy as we speak. But we've taken youth-led practice to like the furthest possible extremes that you can do that. They are writing the funding applications with us. They are planning the events with us. They are the sound technicians. They are the social media managers. There is absolutely nothing which they haven't been involved with over the entire cycle. And basically our ethos is putting young people's voices at the heart of a conversation. Like people, I have love and respect for people of all ages and all generations, but within these spaces, young people's voices are so unrepresented. When we look around, it's like, look at us, we're all of an older generations, and so many of us are sitting here like, what do Taunton's young people want? And our ethos is no, let's not put on a festival for young people, let's put on a festival by young people. Let's involve them in the conversation from the very first funding application to the very last project evaluation. And yeah, those numbers that I was spouting earlier, we're pretty confident we're gonna double them this year. And essentially what I'm asking money for is next year. In that our cycle runs, we were lucky to receive Taunton Town Council sponsorship for our festival cycle in the last tax year, essentially, which paid for some engagement in the build up to this summer. And what I'm asking for now is funding to be able to start our next cycle, not in kind of November, December, once I've done a load of fundraising, but to actually start in September, start the build-up work, being confident that we've got the money for Tyker 25 from this September. So it's kind of just having that early platform to know that we've got capacity to do it. I need to be really clear and honest with you all that for the arts, funding times are absolutely bleak, and very specifically very bleak for Taunton. The Arts Council England, who have been our majority funder for the last few years, are very deliberately placing Bridgewater and Yeovil as priority places, and Taunton is very much not a priority place. Somerset Council have just given out their strategy, which has followed suit of the Arts Council, and in so many ways, Taunton, I feel, has been a victim of its own success, in that it's like the old SWAT did prioritise funding culture. So then it's like, oh, look, they're fine. They don't need money anymore. They've got all this cultural happening. They've got Sound of the Streets. They've got all of these cool things that happen. So we don't need it. And it's like, we cannot allow Taunton to become a victim of its own success in this way. And essentially what we, the arts community here, need is really unglamorous all costs funding of, like Tim mentioned, insurance. It's that stuff. We can get the national funding for, like, we're a really cool, like, youth-led arts festival that's doing all of these things, yeah, but we need to pay our insurance costs, and we need to pay these boring things that these big national funders are a little bit less enthused by. And so yeah, it's basically, we want to do another year of TICA from this coming September until the September after, and to integrate it further and further into the kind of Taunton Together family of engagement, and make that something that is a year-round thing, not just a big bang flash wow and then installation. Sorry, but I find it hard to be concise ever.
Thank you very much. That was really in-depth. Questions from councillors, please? Councillor Ellis?
A statement and a question. Yeah, I completely agree with you about, the national funding scene. I think they should, new government should fund every local authority. It should be a statutory duty to invest in arts and culture, and every area should get that investment. And it's ridiculous. But Taunton will stand up for Taunton, whether it's arts and culture, whether it's sports, whether it's wellbeing, whether it's the high street. Taunton will stand up for Taunton at least and fight our corner. So in terms of numbers, you talk about, doubling the engagement. So basically, over the course of the year, it's thousands of kids who are going to get the opportunity through TICA to do, whether it's having art workshops or trying an instrument or getting, if they sing, getting to showcase that. So a whole perform, dance. So is that about right? Is it 3,000 you aim to engage?
Yes, in the cycle that ended September last year, so not the cycle that is coming to an end, but the cycle before, which is the last one that I've written a formal valuation for, and I believe sent to you all. I can resend it if you haven't. But for that one, it was 2,595 participants. Those are all individual humans. We're very careful not to conflate participants with participations, which is like all of those are unique humans, and there is definitely a kind of quality quantity balance in terms of that engagement. Not all of those 2,595 people had long-standing weekly engagement. Some of them maybe saw a performance in their secondary school and then engaged in 3 workshops, and that was it. It was just like a little flash in the pan. Other ones of those participants engaged in a weekly session for a year from September to July and then did a performance. So it's like we try and do it all. It's like the scatter shot. We need to be in every single secondary school in Taunton in assemblies up in front of everyone saying, yes, the art is for you. Yes, you can be part of this. You are welcome here. And then that's more just like the scatter shot approach. And then there's the more sustained engagement, which is the weekly year-round types of things.
Brilliant. Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, very good. That was extremely comprehensive and very interesting indeed. So thank you very much. So we move on to point 17 on our agenda, grants application still for unique events, please.
So Taunton Winterfest is clearly the like to touch on. This year, the date is scheduled for the 24th of November. Winterfest has become the cornerstone of the community, bringing families, friends, visitors together to celebrate the magic of the winter season. Why Winterfest matters? Community spirit. Winterfest fosters a sense of unity and joy, bringing together a diverse group of shared experiences. Locally commonly based, the event attracts visitors, increasing foot traffic for local businesses and stimulating growth. Cultural enrichment with live performances, artisan markets, festive activities, launching the Winter Festival, which is the cultural fabric of Taunton. Our vision for 2024 is to expand festivities, more activities for all ages, craft workshops, an accessible Santa's Grotto with live music and culinary delights. Last year our Santa's Grotto was so popular we ran out of gifts. The queue was just, it was lovely to see, but it's heartbreaking when you run out of gifts. So this year we're expecting to go bigger and better. No one goes away. Enhanced accessibility. Again, that was an issue last year. We had a lot of people in wheelchairs that needed assistance, even people with mouse, and you know, getting onto the stage or getting to this, you know. So our plan is to make that much better this year. And also sustainability, implementing eco-friendly practices to minimise the event environment's impact, which is massively important, especially this day and age. With your generous support on funding, we will be able to continue Taunton Winterfest to its new heights, making it more spectacular and inclusive than ever. With your support, we will not only enhance the event, but we will also contribute to a lasting positive impact on the community as a whole.
Thank you. It was Rachel, wasn't it? It's Rachel. Thank you. Questions from councillors, please? Councillor Garside.
Last year, do you ask for donations from the public or, you know, Santa's gifts, you know?
No, it's completely free.
Okay, so but you could ask for donations. We could do and for gifts. I think that might be a good thing to do.
Yeah, we have. I did consider it last year. It's generally me and my husband that organise the Santa's show.
Yeah.
And some people have offered. We kind of said no because it's free, but you're right. The costs are gradually creeping up now, so it's definitely a possibility. Thank you.
Councillor Ellis.
This may end up just being a comment. There's probably a question there somewhere. No, but I mean, it's huge, Winterfest. I mean, it's a key part of our community calendar here in Taunton. So I can't imagine Taunton without Winterfest, kind of unthinkable. I think you do an amazing job. I mean, it's a brilliant event.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet it does. I mean, it is a mega and it's great because it's got something for everybody. So an old biddy like me, I mean, I'll go and join in with the line dancing and I always go and listen to Taunton's Got Talent and all the rest of it. So it is, I mean, I can't make, can anyone remember what the footfall is? It's big. It's a
92,000.
92,000. And I do have a question. So the amount that you're asking for in sponsorship, is that absolutely, we have to have this or we can't go ahead? Is there any flexibility on that or what's the deal with that?
If you're not able to grant us the amount that we've requested, we'll have to change things around. It will happen on the day, it has to. But we'll have to change things around. maybe not have as many craft workshops or what have you. The trouble is everything is just very expensive. You know, my husband and I, we work in the event industry, so we pull in an awful lot of favours for Winterfest, but it's not always enough.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, I think we all think it's a very good, worthwhile thing, really massive. So thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 18. This is venue cost grant application, CIC Centre, Creative Innovation Centre, please. Thank you.
I'm Richard. Sal. And we're with Creative Innovation Centre. Thank you very much for considering our application. Just want a brief sort of introduction. So, Creative Innovation Centre, the community interest company, not-for-profit organisation, which is very important in the context of this application. Andy and I started this 12 years ago in recognition of the infrastructure investment needed in Taunton to support the arts and cultural ecosystem. We ran that, say, for 12 years. We also represent another venue, which is the Arts Hub. Not only do we run venues, but we run programming as well. So we, on average, at the moment, we're running about 30 events per month, with over 500 visitors and participants per week. This is all done on a shoestring. You're looking at 2 members of the delivery team, of which there are only 3. So quite a lot of investment personally from the staff. The venue is also home to a number of arts organisations, Somerset Youth Theatre, Create, Estate Trust, to name a few. Creative Innovation Centre has been instrumental in support of Arts Taunton, development Somerset Arts Gallery Trust, Go Create, Tiger, and that whole range of poetry, young musicians. It's all in the business plan. But what we've inherited is we were we punched above our weight, and during the COVID period, which is pretty much embedded in the application, is that we inherited a number of debts. Though we were successful in cultural development fund, that only got us through 20 months of closure. So we had to take on some grants, loans during that period. So we took full advantage of the government's Barclays, community, Sunset Community Foundation, etc. And we projected, we forecast these costs based on the present financial situation. However, as you know, cost of living crisis has gone through the roof. Supplier costs, arts providers, all those costs impacted on our financial situation. So you can see through the financial forecast that we've got a deficit and financial status, a £30,000 gas flow issue, which is a critical issue for the survival of the Greater Innovation Centre and the answer, and subsequently the home and support of all the arts organisations. So we humbly come here today to ask for your help so that we can help the community and continue to help the community and the cultural strategy of tourism going forward. That's my bit.
So I just quickly add a bit extra. It's on my, so. Yes, and as councillors are aware, you may have received letters from your constituents who have asked for support. We have a campaign out there. And again, in our application, we've shown that we've been proactive in trying to make sure that this situation did not occur. Unfortunately, due to the forces that have been against us, we've obviously been in this particular predicament. What this also means, it's about the continuity of the provision of which we've been doing for the past 12 years as well, in the sense that obviously we're seeking funding so that we can get over this bump in the road, as we call it, so that we can get back on our feet and then move forward and to continue another 12 years to provide the what we consider to be, we think we are actually part of the backbone of arts and culture in Taunton. And we think that that's why it's essential that we seek support from the council. Thank you.
Thank you. Well put. Questions from councillors, please? Councillor Ellis?
Yeah, I think everyone understands how vital you are to the cultural eco-structure, ecosystem here, if you like. I can't imagine a Taunton without Pickett, doesn't bear thinking about, and also with you comes the arts hub as well. So there's been an awful lot of has happened, really amazing positive stuff over the last 12 years, for which thank you. I mean, there's just literally so much that you've done. I mean, even like the Ukrainian shop in Paul Street, that wouldn't have existed without Picnic. So it's kind of not just about arts and culture, but it's about an engine for community development. But what's kind of been the response, I don't think, from the artistic community in terms of rallying to your cause?
As towards the campaign that we've got running, obviously, even though Richard says we're £6,000 debt, we'll probably need 50 grand, but that's more realistic. And even if we reach that, that also means we still don't have any reserves or funding reserves. So we've had a good response from the community. We've raised £2,000 cash so far. And don't forget that our campaign will be running for a few months. We have also had artists donate paintings for auction and an exhibition, which will be launched in winter. And we've had musicians and bands say that they will do a gig for us, and all the ticket fees will obviously come to us. Usually ticket fees will, 80% of it would usually go to the provider. So that's good as well. So yes, they've been very, very good. Obviously, from an arts hub perspective, because we support 10 artists in maybe 4 or 5 organisations, they were concerned about the future of Arts Hub. For those that don't know it, we are responsible for Arts Hub. We do run it. All we do is we just have providers that just use the space. And actually, that's why it was set up in the first place. There were loads of arts organisations in Taunton that had no home. So we've had a good response from all. And those responses will continue to come in, but they're small fry in the context of monetary value. It's about providing that connection with the arts we have in the towns.
Thank you. Any other questions? No, we're all fine with that. Thank you very much for your in-depth presentation there. Thank you. Moving on to item 19, the South West Heritage Trust Museum. Thank you.
I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Somerset Heritage Trust. We were founded in 2014 to provide a range of heritage services in Devon and in Somerset, including the Museum of Somerset here in Taunton. The Trust, like many organisations, has been impacted by the financial challenges facing local government. The Somerset Council, our principal funder, have reduced core support for the museum, leading to an urgent and serious need to ensure funding for the non-statutory services we provide, including museums. Museum Somerset, which I hope you will agree, is a key cultural venue in Taunton, creating over £2.3 million for the local economy. And last year we welcomed over 90,000 visitors, including thousands of young people participating in learning workshops, schools. Our status as a national portfolio organisation funded by Arts Council England has enabled the site to expand its programme, offering additional early years activities for those starting out in life, as well as their parents and carers. The museum is becoming an increasingly conflict describing venue, working with charities and partners here in Taunton, and the site is now offering a range of cultural experiences for underserved audiences, and demand is high. And as you know, the Trust's ambitious programme of contemporary exhibitions continues to demonstrate the museum's growing reputation as a major regional venue. And a soon-to-be-announced record-breaking archaeological acquisition of international significance will put the museum and Taunton on the map in new and exciting ways. Overall, through this plan, we hope to create a close partnership with Town Council that will ensure that the museum can continue to deliver a civic role in the town for the benefit of Taunton. Without funding, opening hours at the museum needs to be reduced by up to 2 days a week throughout the year, and such a reduction would severely affect the site's accessibility to tourists and local visitors. The site's public programme would need to be reduced, resulting in fewer opportunities for local schools and community organisations to engage with the museum. The ability of the site to increase revenue on visitor spend will also be severely affected across all areas of the business, including the cafe and shop. Roles at the museum would be at risk as a result of insufficient funding, and this would be a consequent effect, or there would be a consequent effect, on the overall quality of service and curation and on the visitor's experience. Insufficient funds would limit the variety and scope of ambitions, resulting in fewer opportunities to showcase diverse art and heritage collections, and would reduce the ability to promote the museum, leading to lower attendance and reduced community awareness. And prolonged funding shortages would jeopardise the museum's long-term viability, making it harder with the backburners, sponsors and grants. If funding is secured for this grant, by the Town Council with a strong return on investment and ensure the museum can play a leading role in Taunton's future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions from the councillors, please? Councillor Garside, thank you.
Just ask, is this a one-off funding request, or is this going to be an ongoing funding request?
Yeah, well, there's two answers to that really. I believe there will be an ongoing need for support in times, and due to the nature of the reduction that we receive in terms of that core funding. But what I would also say, and to reinforce that we're not, we are expected to play our own role as well, and work is undergoing with some precision now to ensure that we're doing what we can to increase revenue through our business operations and through applications to other grants and funders in due course as well. And so it's part of a wider journey that we're now on, but I do believe that hopefully could be a continued relationship and partnership between the museum and the town.
Thank you. Councillor Reynolds, thank you.
I think this is really more of a comment than anything else, but yeah, I mean, it is a bizarre situation to be in, but literally it's small amount of funding guarantees this massive, economic, just thinking it in monetary terms, 2.3 million for the local economy for a, relatively small investment. That's, and anyway, the museum is like one of the jewels in the crown. And we're so proud that it's in Taunton, and I know it's a Somerset thing, but it's such a huge thing for Taunton in terms of, you know, children and their learning. My kids virtually, that was their history, because they were home educated. That was their history education, going to the museum, and they got a brilliant education just from going to the museum. And there's so much it has to offer, amazing exhibitions. I'm going to the opera this week in the museum, which is fantastic. I mean, it really is. It's renowned nationally, internationally. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Any further, Councillor Strauss, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. In the military museum, how does that work? They pay you rent for the space?
They're a separate trust, a separate charitable trust, and that they have a long-standing partnership with the museum, going back to the time when the museum was still run by Somerset County Council. So they're a very engaged partner, and they have contributed financially over the years to the recreation of the museum. And when the museum was reopened in 2011, they continue to be a partner. It's not delivered through a financial relationship, but there's other ways they offer support for running the museum in kind, and are a key partner in terms of what we do at the site.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Thank you. Any further questions? Oh, can I go? Yes.
Yeah, Sam, in your application here, it mentioned about the ambition for the Sunday opening hours. Is that something that could be delivered as part? Would that be an additional that if the committee that you were seeking grant funding for, or would that be something later on?
That was, so thank you, Marcus. Just to say that Sunday opening isn't included in the funding portfolio we've suggested at this stage. But I still, what I would like to say from my perspective, I would like to see the museum open on Sunday. We think that's what our audiences now expect of a cultural venue like the Museum of Somerset, and they expect to be able to access cultural and heritage provision in museums on a Sunday. And I think that, of course, would hopefully bring benefit to the town centre and its economy as well. So I think in terms of the evolution of our relationship, if this grant was confirmed, we would certainly like the opportunity to be able to work with the council to try and make that happen.
Well, that's really good. From a personal point, I would really like it on a Sunday, working full time, and then committed things on a Saturday. Would love to attend on a Sunday, so would like that to, if it's possible in the future. Any other questions, Caroline?
Just a comment, we did this in SWT, again, from the, I think it came half from my budget, half from somebody else's, so it is possible to do. It does just require that budgetary commitment, but I think everyone, it's a no-brainer really having it on a Sunday, so I think that's something we need to really look closely at, because it was the business community was basically saying this should happen as well. It wasn't just a museum thing, it came from the local businesses.
And just if I may, Carol, can I say this? That investment through the Old Somerset Western Taunton Council, it was a trial period.
Yeah.
We did over time see the benefit of as a business of that opening and momentum built. And so I think that project showed that it makes sense to us as an organisation to be open on Sunday as well.
Thank you. If there are any more questions, then we'll move on, but thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, I've just been asked if we could extend our meeting by half an hour because we've reached our standing time of 2 hours. That's okay. Do we need to vote?
Propose a second.
Can we have a proposer and seconder? Proposer Caroline Ellis, seconder Martin Strauss. All in favour? Harry, thank you. We're moving on now to item 20, which is the Taunton Theatre Association, please. Thank you.
I'm going to try and be as concise as I can. I'm coming unscripted, so I'm not before. I'm Vicky Robbins. I'm the Executive Director of the Taunton Theatre Association, which has I've been operating Taunton Brewhouse Theatre now for 10 years. The simple reason for me being here tonight is historically we've always had a very generous grant from Somerset West and Taunton Council of 132,000. Since that's been passed over to Somerset Council, this year it's been reduced by 10% and next year it's reduced to 0. So we have had to find a way to make up as much of the shortfall as we can. We've cut things, we've pared back, we've reanalysed our business, we've really worked extraordinarily hard. We think we can almost do it. We can almost live without that grant. But the last bit I can't quite get over the line is our Learn programme, which is our community creative engagement programme. That strand of our work, which is really forms the basis of our charitable aims, is always been a loss leader for us. It doesn't cover its own costs in any way, shape or form, but it is so important to our community. We deliver a number of different classes, groups, workshops, all sorts of different free opportunities, engagement opportunities, all sorts of things for the older community, for the family community, for the regular visitors. And it would just be tragic if we weren't able to sustain that. I could have sat here tonight and said, I just need money to keep us going. But what I stepped back and looked and said, well, if I didn't get that money, what we're gonna lose? And I think it's that strand of work. We just wouldn't be able to keep going. So we're just asking for some money towards that. We've done everything we can to be sustainable as possible. But I don't want to keep that strand going and saying to our community, no, you've got to pay £10 a ticket every time you want to come and dance or come and do this. I want to be able to make it absolutely accessible to all our community, not just those in young and kids. And that's what we've always historically done. I mean, that's what I want to continue to do. So that's why I'm asking for support.
Thank you. Well put. Questions from councillors, please? Councillor Ellis?
Not really a question, is it? It's more of a say. No, I mean, I absolutely applaud you. I think you've done an amazing job to kind of weather the storm and be very savvy about how you steer a course forward where you're, yes, in some regards becoming more commercial, very savvy about what will get, you know, people bums on seats, that you're appealing to a very broad, diverse audience still, you know, which is amazing. But at the same time, there is the community role of Taunton Brewhouse, which has always been there. So to my mind, that's absolutely something that the town council must be supportive of. It wouldn't be, would it? You're absolutely right. It wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the Brewhouse anymore if there weren't all of the Learn programmes. And there's so many of them across so many disciplines. It just would not fly at all, and we need to absolutely maintain the amazing cultural offer that we've got. And just to say, I just think you've done an amazing job over the last couple of years, because I know from where there have been previous challenges, and I know what has gone into getting from where you were then to where you are now. And yeah, so just thank you.
Thank you, that's really sweet. Just to add quickly, I don't know how many of these people you heard say, oh yeah, we do our thing at the Brewhouse, and we do Tyco at the Brewhouse, and we do Diversity Voice have their drop-ins at the Brewhouse. I've even been talking to the counselling lady who came up first, whether we can give her some space. We've been doing so much work with our local community and charity partners. We've got a dog social on, not necessarily Saturday afternoon, it's the Giles Animal Rescue. So we try and use our bricks and mortar to benefit the entire community, but it's the Learn programme bit that I'm really going to struggle with. And it's really just the staff time and putting it all together and delivering it. That's what it is.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? Further questions? No, I think we're all know exactly what you do.
Keep it nice and short.
That's
Not too bad for speed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
That brings to an end the applications and on the agenda.
Not committee deliberation. But the committee deliberates and what? You go back to it.
So it's now we're moving on to the committee deliberating over what we've heard from all the applicants this evening, and then move forward on that. If anybody like a few minutes just to grab a water or something else again.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Yeah, still going.
Should we just have a couple of minutes again, short break, move on?
I don't really know that situation.
No, okay, we'll move straight on then. Thank you.
Yeah.
I just ask if anybody's seen the email that Amber sent round late this afternoon with some recommendations for today.
Yeah, I have.
Yes,
I think I replied to it.
Do we want to read that out? It's relevant.
Well, if we need to read it out, I think we'll bear it in mind and we'll make sure we.
We all seen, we haven't all seen it. Not a lot.
Do a synopsis.
Yes. Yes. It is very relevant.
Did you want me to just remind the committee about, I know Caroline sent around a helpful email to the committee outlining what uncommitted funds are that was announced in the meeting.
Yeah.
And she also suggested that if you wanted to allocate a third of the amount of funds to each of the 3 meetings, that would work out as a certain amount that's in the email. I can read it like if it would be helpful.
Yes, please.
Yeah. In front of me when you're ready for it.
So for grants, it would be 14,983 per meeting. For sponsorship, 5,668 per meeting. And for venue cost grants, 40,000 per meeting. So that's the 3 meetings left this year, isn't it? So this one, the October one, and that's going to be January meeting. Obviously, we as a committee don't have, unfortunately, we're not in a position where we could give everyone what we want. Whatever I've asked for tonight, the full amount. So just bear that in mind. Thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, I know, it's just to say for the venues thing, it's like, I think that's going out the window because I think there might be this, the main sort of ask, you know, these are the venues that are struggling. If we don't support them now, we won't have a museum, we won't have a theatre, we won't have an art centre. So I think, you know, I don't care if we spend it, you know, the lion's share of that. And if we don't, we're screwing Taunton pretty badly.
I agree with Karen, but totally agree because, I mean, they need it now, you know, and not next year, they need it now. And we've got to keep them going, we've got to, you know, otherwise they're going to collapse and it's unthinkable what happens, unthinkable. And we want to make Taunton into an art centre for the whole of Somerset. It's going to be massive. And we can't just now not give the money. It will be ridiculous. Yeah, we have huge ambitions for Taunton to make it like the centre of the world. So, you know, we need to put our money where our mouth is. You know, and they're suffering now, really suffering. They've had no funding from the Arts Council. Have been terrible in they've been closing down arts organisations all over the country. It's been a shocker. I hope things will change. Maybe next year they will be better. But at the moment, we need to rescue these organisations now.
I'll be very quick. I just want to read.
What's it, Martin? Yeah, please do so.
And recommendations. Thank you. Please see a advice copy of the school document tonight. I've been through and filtered the blanks based on the application info and general knowledge of the organisations. All fine and dandy, really, however, the rugby club application is particularly low scoring. Doesn't mean we shouldn't fund it, but just to note it doesn't really hit the marks we've set. It's mainly true of other sports clubs and things like scout groups. And then Rob and I had a really good session. Caroline, and I was at that meeting as well. She said the small grant ones are all fairly straightforward, especially if we cap them all at £2,500. Suggest sponsorship for Winter Fest / union events.
Yeah.
That pot is nearly exhausted, so propose giving Typer £2,500. They're splitting the remaining 14,000 between Pride and Winter Fest. We'll need to ask Pride if that will severely impact the event, but that's all the money that's left anyway. I will be arguing for more event sponsorship budget for next year based on the annual events portfolio we would like to support. I see this as separate from the rest of the small grants applications in essence, and is really part of our conflict strategy. Venue grants. Main point here is we don't do retrospective grants. And a big chunk of Gifford's request for this year is to clear a deficit carried forward from last year. I will propose granting 30,000, which is the amount they have in their 5-year forecast and needing for the first 3 years, for the next 3 years. Press them on plans they actually have to pursue other funding opportunities for reduced costs, as their business plan was very light on actual detail. The other 2 applications are more straightforward, and those 2 organisations have clearer plans about how not to rely on funding in the future. I think it was worth just mentioning that, and that sound was summation from this afternoon. I'm sure she would have said that, so I've actually been here.
But we will be relying on.
They will be. They all will be.
So, you know,
We're between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything that's been asked for. So we have to make choices tonight. And it's going to be challenging. I see it. Anybody else, 21 fields. We've got to prioritise something on.
We have, yes, yes. Speaking to my learned colleagues here on the right, that 2,500 from the grants pot for those right across would leave us very short for the rest of the year. So, well, I can confirm the figure. So, yeah.
Can I just a quick calculation, so if we take out unique events from the grants pot and you give what everyone wanted, some didn't want 2.5, there are some with 2,000 on that. It comes to 21,500, you need 23,450 for the year, that grants pot. For the 2, if there are 2 remaining meetings, throughout the remainder of this year.
I know it'll depend on what comes forward. Sorry, Caroline.
Are we going to go through each of the small grants first? Because basically, I thought they were all really, really strong, and I would ask this question about the rugby, but I feel I've got a much better sense of that now than I didn't have before. So I think they're all fundable. And an obvious thing to do is to cap it at 2.5. So Escape would get less, but then we asked them about that, and they said that was fine. So I would basically I thought they were all really impressive, really, really great projects. It's almost like I would almost propose that we give everybody the 2.5 apart from the one that only wanted 2,000.
There's 2.
And I would move that.
2, yeah.
You could almost move that on block. I don't know if we're allowed to do that, but I just feel there's such move that on block, and I don't care if it leaves less for another round, because there's enough to have another round.
Yeah.
To my mind.
If you look at the centre round the spreadsheet there for the 3, we've got the grants, the sponsorship, and then the venue costs.
Yeah.
The actual unique events, Amber was proposing to put that under sponsorship rather than the grants, which seems to be sense.
That makes sense.
And then the problem is with that, then we have uncommitted funds available, 17,000. That would clear that sponsorship fault out completely.
There are just 2. Community council have asked for nearly 4,000, and Escape support have asked for 5,000. I think we just cap it at 2.5.
Yes, 2.5 right through.
I think apply again next year.
Would that be okay?
Marcus, you can move that on block if everyone's happy with those.
I think they all did a very good job, and very, I don't think, like Martin said, we're a rock and a hard place for sure. mighty, mighty powerful things. And so many link together, don't they? Which was really, well, it's a shame we can't do.
Would it be possible if we just, for the record, go through them separately on the,
Yeah.
just so Karen's clear, and then we've got the record.
Has everybody got sight of the grant spreadsheet there?
I can.
Yeah. Karen said I've got paper.
I like it.
So if we go through that in the order, which was the Community Council, CIC. We proposed to £2,500. They asked for 3,830, £2,500. May I have a proposer? You wrote that down? Yeah. Councillor Strauss, and a seconder. Councillor Ellis. All in favour? All carried, unanimous. Moving on to Diversity Voice. We recommend the full 2,500 requested from that. So can I have a proposer, please? Councillor Lees, seconder. Councillor Strauss. All in favour? All in favour, carried. Moving on to the Escape Support Group. They've asked for £5,000, but we're proposing a 2,500. Proposer, Councillor Ellis, seconder, Councillor Garside. All in favour? Motion carried. Next, Go Create, another great presentation there. Asked for £2,500. I think we all agree on that. So proposer is Martin, Councillor Strauss, seconder, Councillor Ellis. Moving on, sorry, did we vote on this? We did. Going through this. The next one, Go Create again, asked for the 2,500, which
We've just done a group.
just for a matter of the record, our cap is £2,500 for the grant application anyway. So some people were a little bit. So moving on, yes, Hestercombe Gardens Trust. May I have a proposer? Councillor Garside, seconder, Councillor Ellis, all in favour? Motion carried. The next was the North Taunton Scout Group. They put a request in for £2,000. May I have a proposer for that? Councillor Strauss, Councillor Ellis, all in favour? 100%. Motion carried. Moving forward to the State of Trust.
Did you want to discuss this one? Because obviously we didn't get a presentation.
Yeah, no, that's fine. We didn't, as Marcus kindly pointed out, we didn't actually have a presenter for this one. Talking to Amber, there was a very good presentation put together on paper. She is chair of the committee, didn't see any reason why that wasn't. She thought it was a very good put together application, as did I. Anybody want further discussion on that? No, good. So may I have a yes, may I have a proposal for that? Councillor Garside, seconded, Councillor Ellis, all in favour? Carried, thank you. Moving on to the Taunton Rugby Football Club. They've asked for £2,500 for ground improvements to the, and I thought what a well worth that was for all the people and children being involved in that. Although no scoring on our matrix here, I do believe that was very, very well worthwhile. So may I have a proposal for that, please? Councillor Strauss, seconded Councillor Garside. All in favour? All in favour? Many thanks. Motion carried. Moving on, Sound of the Streets. Very good. Okay. £2,000 asked for.
Piper of Taunton.
Very, yes, it would have been, yeah. Can I have a proposer for that? Councillor Ellis, second, Councillor Garside, all in favour? Carried. All carried, unanimous there. We propose to move the grant application for unique events over to the Sponsorship grant page. All in favour of that, or can I have a proposer to do that? Councillor Ellis, seconded Councillor Strauss, so all in favour? So we move that over to the sponsorship grant. So we've got then 3 areas in the sponsorship grant area, of which I took steer from the chair of the grants committee on that. And Amber's thoughts were the Tyker at 2,500. So if we do these individually then, so that the Taunton Pride CIC was recommended at £7,000. That was by the chair.
So was she suggesting that the money should be split between Taunton Pride and
Tyker and the unique events. So we have a funds available of £17,000. So the rationale was to that pot split between the 3, £2,500 Tyker, the amount asked for.
these fall under the same category as sponsorship, you know, in that they're happening every year, or hopefully going to happen every year, like Winterfest comes up regularly, Pride will come up regularly, Tico will do their festival regularly. Shouldn't they all be then grouped together, these are ongoing events?
Can I take thoughts there on that?
What we're doing. In a way, we're kind of doing that because we're saying these are things that we should sponsor because they are really key annual events for the town. But we don't have to organise, but we're so that's a slightly different setup to the grants, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it's hard to know the difference, isn't it? But Caroline Brown may be able to explain it better than me.
These are all free at point of entry.
Yeah.
Not all the grant applications are.
Yeah.
Do they have to give more information for sponsorship?
I would say it's a bit less.
And less? There's more money.
I do run the same checks.
I asked Martin, I asked the same questions of Caroline earlier. Our grants have a maximum £2,500. The sponsorship is really capped by our budget rather than any monetary amount, whereas then the venue cost grants are up to a maximum of £50,000.
So can I just ask, is that what's left in the other budget?
In the sponsorship one, yes. Councillor Allison.
One slight worry I have about the sponsorship budget, if we spent it all tonight, was where does that leave Armed Forces Day for 2025? Because we have, did we sponsor it this year? It was sponsorship rather than grant, wasn't it? It was a sponsorship, and it's not like we're not going to want to do that again. It'd be inconceivable, but it may be that we would have to argue that money should be vied, extra money should be, or money should be vied from a shortfall in another budget if they need it, because I'm thinking now we're 2024, we're summer 2024, when are they going to be applying for next year? They're going to apply before the next financial year.
I think it went to the April. 8th of April last year they applied.
8th
of the 4th, 24. Yeah. £5,000.
So are we saying we won't have any money to give at the end of this year?
In the past, have we done things where we have agreed to switch money across? So we could do that, couldn't we? Is that correct? We could switch money across from grants to sponsorship.
Yeah. From 2 grants of sponsorship, yes. We can do what we like, if they come under our district. But if we run out of money on those 3 heads, grant sponsorship benefit, then it's presumably full council.
Yes.
Get it from a completely different budget.
Yes.
There's no guarantee. I just want to make an observation that's coming through from the questions from Mark Sosa. They had an incredibly successful event this year, and they didn't charge any entrance there. The flower show, however, is causing a lot of traffic and lasting money Lots of people are saying it's very expensive. And also, a number of stores are pulling out because the numbers have dropped because of the cost of entry. A lot of stores are doing a lot less business. And I know that this one was pulled out this year for that reason, and another one is considering it. So the flower show is potentially an issue that we need to go on. They haven't asked us for money.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, you know, people will blame us for flower show. So I just think we need to be conscious of that.
We did actually sponsor money for the Maidenbrook Country Park as well for an event. That was before I became councillor. That was £10,000, I believe, went that way. Is that something that came out of a grants area? Would you know?
Sorry, Chair. No, that didn't come out of the grants budget. That came out of the events and the civic earmark reserve. Just for that because of the link with the D-Day event.
Yeah.
So there is opportunities where council could consider
switching to
I'm
funding.
just surprised that I haven't asked us for any money.
We'll take that extra amount.
I think we ought to concentrate on those it's asked for funds rather than those they haven't, really. So should we, on that fund available from the sponsorship ponds, the three areas that we've had presentations from that sponsorship fund, and that would sort of probably be ongoing. It would have some effect on the scaling of one of the events, the unique events, as the lady presented well. But we've got to be mindful of, the custodians of Taunton residents, taxpayers' money, and we can only do so much, which is a shame in a way. So with the chair's guidance on that, that was in the email as well, what she put around. May I propose that split in those ways, and we do them one at a time? So Taunton Pride, we proposed a £7,000 grant from the sponsorship budget. May I have a proposer? Councillor Ellis, and a seconder, Councillor Strauss. Moving on to Tyker, again, a very worthwhile cause there, but they've asked for £2,500 and we can do that under that area. So can I have a proposer for that one? Councillor Strauss, seconder, Councillor Garside. Can I have a vote on that one, please? All in favour? Everybody? Yes, carried. No, I didn't actually vote on the Taunton Pride. So Taunton Pride, that was £7,000 that we discussed and were, so can we have a vote on that, please? All in favour? Good, no abstentions or against. Final one was the unique events. We moved that over from the grants to the sponsorship. They'd asked for a sum of £9,400. That would exhaust almost that pot by a few £100 then. So we proposed for that a £7,000 sponsorship grant. So we're given a proposer for that, please. Yeah, Councillor Strauss, seconder. Councillor Ellis, all in favour? Yeah, that's that. Carried. You're okay with that, guys? Yeah. They're the big ones. Venture cost grants. We have. Oh, sorry, venue cost grants. Sorry.
But I just start my check. We've got £120,000 in the kids league. And if we give them what they want, it would be 109,000. So it doesn't leave an awful lot of money for the rest of the year. But these are major events. Are we likely to get more venue applications during the rest of the year? maybe it's just too bad. I'm not, if we don't give them what they need, they may not be able to do what they need to do.
These are major, very big things, these are the three.
Yes, I don't want to come. Anyway.
Just as a matter of protocol, could we agree on to extend the meeting by a further half an hour? We've overrun time again. So we agree that to extend till 9 o'clock.
Yeah, the only one that was controversial was kicking, because Anne suggested 30 pounds. They are really. That made the decision on that. The other two, you felt were not on his version.
So Marcus says, can we please vote on the extension of the meeting for the half an hour? All in favour? No abstentions. Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you.
Again, I quite agree with everything everybody said on these three massive areas. And I can't see how we can't vote for the full amounts that they've asked for.
I'm inclined to agree. If we can't kick it back, it's going to push it into some serious financial problem.
Yeah, and the same with the yes, Southwest Heritage. You know, the people that pulls into the town for other benefits. Sorry, Councillor Strauss.
On the question of kicking, could I just ask Councillor Ellis just to say something on this, because you're much closer to their funding was in this assessment. You felt they've started to get their act together. I'd just like to hear what your view is and how they're now managing their affairs.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've done they've set up a whole campaign. It's multi-pronged, so it's a whole kind of project. So it's looking at, within their business plan, what they can do to cut costs. Like energy costs have been a massive issue. So in their business plan, it talks about getting air source heat pump. Of course, they don't own the building, so there's a slight constriction there. Sure. But they've also, there's quite a lot in there. Like, so I suggested to them, like, when you buy a ticket, that there's an option to donate. So when you go on the brew house, they get me every time because they said, do you want to donate? How can you say no? So there's quite a lot that they're doing, and as you've heard, they have galvanised the artistic community. So a lot of the organisations are pitching in, the artists, the musicians. The only issue for me on the level of KICK funding is because Councillor Packer Hughes was worried that some of it was like funding last year's deficit, but I don't know that that's the case. Because this is to get through this year. Am I right that they're saying they need whatever it is, 49,500, and then that? But it's not clear that they. I should have asked them this actually to clarify. Yeah. Is it that if we gave them that this? I mean, I would assume if they need money next year, it would not be that same amount. It will be a lower amount. Yes. Well, I would expect that simply because it's been a cumulative. They've faced cumulative costs and they've been, cumulatively impacted, and it's come to a head now. But given that they've got quite a strong business plan, they wouldn't be needing it so much. Whereas museum will need the same amount again. Yes. Brew house, I would think would need more next year because of the Somerset.
Withdrawing all their funding.
Yeah, they're withdrawing all their funding next year. So yeah, that's the way I see it. But maybe I don't know if anyone officer could offer clarity. Are we? Is giving cricket the full amount is not, we're not like plugging, this is for this year anyway, they'll only be getting it this year. It's not a sort of.
The Southwest Heritage Trust application did say funding the same amount next year as well. But Marcus has kindly found some definition there that I think would be wise to read out on this venue grants.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I'm happy to go back on the points that Karen Ellis was raised as well, but yeah, just obviously the grants policy was amended just to refresh councillors in terms of where the spending cost balance has come from. You put aside some money from the devolution budget following the May full council and amended the grants policy to include funding for specific venue costs, revenue and capital to be considered on a case-by-case basis up to a maximum sum of 50,000 per applicant. all those organisations based in the town. And they will only be made when an acceptable business plan has been prepared. The business plan will set out how the organisation intends funding its activities over the next 5 years. And it's accompanied with complete grant application along with all of the requested information as detailed in a grant application form. So that's just a brief overview on that. In terms of the grant application form itself, it does talk about historic debts causing an issue, but it does break down what the 49,500 will be considered for. So I think the summary there is at 0.31. And it's not clear to me that therefore past costs, but like you said, it'd be this financial year, so they may have been incurred already this year. Which is why I think on the website they talk about being in a sort of point of keeping themselves going. But yeah, I don't know, Caroline, if you've got any further information on the past, I don't know.
Well, their accounts are available online.
Just for the medical chair, regarding my ticket, they also manage the activities of, just for the record chair, Kicking also manage the activities of Blue House.
Yeah.
They didn't mention that. They do a lot within the community, but isn't always obvious.
Effectively, by giving a grant to Kick It, we are funding 2 venues. It's 2 for the price of 1, essentially.
Yeah, I do believe the presenter did say something about it. He referred to it as not Fluke House, but as the arts centre, this end of town. So that it is right there. Being devil's advocate on these things, really, if there's 30,000, we might agree in a short while to the Southwest Heritage, the Taunton Theatre Association is 28, almost to 30. It might seem prudent, perhaps, for this kick at 30 as well. But
that was Councillor Amber's recommendation that they were given 30. What will happen if they don't get the extra 19,500? Will it push them under? Because they're on a knife edge at the moment. And that's why I was asking Councillor Caroline what your personal feelings are. It's a very difficult one.
Yeah, I think it's good. What's this appropriate this year? I wouldn't be maybe arguing for the same next year. So I think definitely, I think the museum, Somerset will need consistently 30 grand next year, this year, that next year. The brew house, I would be, I mean, Vicky does an incredible job of kind of, but I think in all likelihood, they may definitely need more next, just logic, isn't it? They'll need more next year, whereas Kick It, if they stabilise this year with a larger grant, then if they needed support next year, I would expect it not to be of the same order. So I think it's a this year decision, isn't it? It's about this year. So I'm quite happy to propose and give them exactly what they've asked for.
Yeah. I agree.
well, that's fine. I think we've just a further thought on that would only leave then some 10,000–11,000 pounds in our venue cost grants for the rest of the year. But if we're happy with that, I think that being these one-off, and these are the 3 big funding organisations that we would have taken on from Somerset West and Taunton Somerset Council, then they're not going to come back for more further in the year. So
let me just state one observation, please, before we vote. That is, we were offered a devolution package subject to clarification before Christmas, and we were told to take it or leave it. And that devolution package included the brew house. And we've heard no more. We're now more than 6 months on, and we haven't heard about the market house, the brew house, the old municipal buildings, all of which were involved in the devolution package. Yeovil and Bridgewater both have had their devolution package finalised, and we've had nothing. And I'm just concerned as to what is happening. Because if they declare a 114 at any point, all bets are off and we won't get anything. And the brew house, in order, is it effective? If the brew house asset is sold off or whatever by Somerset Council, how does that leave all the money that we're putting into the theatre operating company?
I think only colleague Marcus would like to add.
Thank you, Marcus.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councillor Strauss. Yes, conscious this is a public meeting and some of these things have been held outside of the public domain, but obviously there was a member briefing not too long ago following up on the discussions that were had about Christmas about further demolition package. Obviously, there was a member, I don't know if you came along to that, but there was further steering discussions with members about what they wanted to see in terms of the offer that had been discussed with Somerset Council. Obviously, the original demolition package was the one that was offered as part of setting Taunton Town Council up with all the parks and the toilets. So that's a, if you could say that has been completed as part of that piece of work. But in terms of, it's a question around granting the brew house this funding, and then I'm not sure that this would, because the Learn programme is slightly different to, this is more of a revenue grant, isn't it? I would say than funding anything to do with the building per se. So that should offer some comfort in terms of ongoing devolution discussions.
I think the brew house, I wouldn't worry about the brew house physically disappearing or the land being sold off in the next year. I don't think that would happen. I think politically, absolutely no way. I mean, they wouldn't dare. So I think we're fairly safe on that, I would say.
Thank you for your reassurance.
Thank you. Thank you, Marcus, for the contribution there, and Caroline. Should we move this forward, take a vote? And I would probably full amount if.
Can we do one at a time?
Yeah, we do one at a time. So first of all, the Kick Centre, Creative Innovation Centre, the request for £49,500. Can I have a proposer? Councillor Lees, seconder. Councillor Ellis, all in favour? All carried. Thank you. Moving on to the South West Heritage Trust. I proposed through to the full grant again of £30,500. So could I have a take a pick? Councillor Ellis, Councillor Garside, all in favour? Carried. And then finally, the Taunton Theatre Association. Great job that they do. They've requested £29,940. So can I have a proposer? Councillor Ellis, seconder, Councillor Lees, all in favour? All carried. Thank you very much. I do believe that ends tonight's agenda and meeting. I thank you all for your participation and time, and it's been a great pleasure, and I hope what we've done this evening will bring a lot of fortune to the town and help a lot of people out.